Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. So let's dive a little bit further. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video, okay, but you see, that's the problem with a lot of my videos. I cover a lot of different subjects, so it's hard to kind of title it one thing. So when I review it, I'll have a better name for it. But anyways, now I dropped a video that goes over the responsibilities of everyone in quarters type defenses against 3x0 sets, right? So you guys, if you don't know what this stuff is, definitely go check out that video. I can't go over everything in every video because it'll be too long, so definitely check that out, okay? One of the main points of this video is because we know the responsibilities of everyone in the coverage, right? Everything is in layers. Now we can build on that, right? And this is how you can get into the point to where you kind of design your own stuff. Okay, so for example, let me just draw up a route example here. What if we have, they like to put their best receiver here, right? And maybe he runs, I don't know, a post. Let's just draw anything here, okay? And you're having trouble with that, right? Well, one thing we can do is now we can start doing our own thing where, how about we just man this guy on the 2? Right? And when you change the responsibility of this guy, it doesn't mean that everyone else changes, right? He's still reading 2 to 1 and he's still reading 1 to 2, right? Now, when you do that, I would man this guy up as well, right? So now we're just man to man, man to man. And now we get a situation over here to where now we are playing like Vic Fangio's pounder type concept, right? Because he's still reading 2 to 1. And then what I would do with this is, well, how about we play with outside leverage with this guy, right? Now that may fiddle with the run fits going this way, but again, stay tuned in this video. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, okay? So, that would be an example to where now if this guy runs like a post pattern or different, maybe he likes to run inside breaking routes with this guy, vertical routes. Well, now we get a true bracket. And this is how I develop true bracket coverages in Madden, okay? Because if you notice, when you play man-to-man, you play 2-man, okay? Let's say it's deep half, deep half. If you were to just take this guy and man him on the number 2, and this guy runs a deep post, okay? He's going to play it almost like outside leverage along. If they get beat, they both are outside. Or they're both inside when the guy runs a corner, right? That's why bracket coverage in Madden is just horrible, right? In real life, if we are doubling this guy, we're playing with either in and out technique or under and over the top technique. We're never playing with the same leverage. Well, what I've noticed is when you play like quarters coverage, primarily like a guy's in 2-1 and 1-2, they almost always want to play with inside leverage, right? Because it's a middle of the field open deep defense, and you want to take away where there's more space, right? Well, if we were to man up these 2 players and play with this guy with outside leverage, then that's how we can kind of design a true bracket coverage on this guy, because I'm outside leverage on this and he's going to play with inside leverage. Okay, so that's what I mean. So this is where we can design something, man up, and he's playing 2 to 1, and we can draw up a route combination on this side of the field, and the defense is still sound, right? So let's do something like this. He runs a deep post. Let's do smash. Okay. So what would happen here if we man up, right? Well, obviously he's going to man this up. And obviously we would have him outside leverage. And that would be bracketed, right? Well, what about the 3? Well, nothing changes. Let's do something where he runs a corner. Okay. He's going to cut 1. Does 1 go inside underneath? No. So then he's going to poach over for 3. Okay, we're the 3 rec. We're going to hang inside to take away that inside throw, and then we're into the middle, right? So this is what I mean. Like when you see a video where someone goes, and I'm not picking on anyone, right? But if you see a video where a guy goes, hey, in order to stop this one play that everyone's struggling with, you have to do this, right? And they do something with the players, and then you look at the play and you're like, well, bro, if they were to run any other play, you would be screwed, right? And I don't want to go over an example, right? You want to make sure that it's sound no matter what they run. Now, obviously, there's weaknesses in the coverage, but it's still sound, right? You're not compromising the back end of the coverage. So we could draw up any type of route distribution. How about we do something like this? So this is where we get into something where how about we run like a levels concept or follow or whatever, right? If we were to man him up, well, outside leverage, and what would he do, right? He would be man-to-man on this guy. And we'd have the 3 rec inside. Let's say this guy runs, I don't know, a post. Okay, hang inside, I'm in the middle. I'm taking that route, right? What would he do? He's still reading 2 to 1 despite us manning up these players. So 2 goes underneath. All right, I don't have him. So now I'm bracketing the 1, right? So here we see an example where, you know, true pounder type concept to where he's playing inside out on vertical routes. Yes, we call quarters against this formation, but again, because we understand the rules, we can do different things to create our own stuff, right? Okay. So that's just one part of the video. I want to make a whole video going over a lot of different things you can do. You know, maybe I'll brainstorm on the fly with different things, and then you can kind of come up with your own stuff, right? Let's go on to the next clip. I forgot what I had here. Okay, oh, okay, so I put this here. So we are in the over front, right? 3, 1, defensive end, okay? And one of you guys, I should have grabbed his name. You know, I'm going to put it in the description. I got to hunt it down, okay? He gave something here. He said, I wonder if this is the clip where I show it. Yes. He said, look, if you go cover 6 invert, because remember in the video where I went over this stuff, you have trouble with inside zone, right? Because inside zone is pretty decent against the overfront that we present from quarters against trace sets, right? Well, he said, you know, hey, you can call cover 6 invert, and in cover 6 invert, they show up in the underfront, as you see here, right? 1, 3, okay? And then we have our defensive end, okay? And inside zone has a harder time from this formation running against the underfront. You can always just shift to under, right? But if you call cover 6 invert, they come out in under right away, okay? I guess it's better anchored for the defense on the back end. All right. And it's harder to get a double team on this guy because obviously in inside zone, this is the play side run. You step in play side, yes. Play side, yes. He really can't step over and double this guy. So maybe you get the double here, and now we have a better chance at plugging the run on inside zone, right? But what we can do is we can call cover 6 invert and then audible to cover 4 quarters, and look how the front does not change. I didn't know that, right? I didn't know. Now, I did know if you call a defense, well, I'm going to get into that, but I didn't know that the front won't change, right? So we can actually call an under front by just calling cover 6 invert and then having in your audibles cover 4, right? So I'm going to put his name in the description. I wanted to clip it and put his name in here, but I'll put it in the description. So that was some good stuff, right? So that's one thing you can do to deal with a specific problem. But now, you know, let's get into blitzing. Okay, so this, again, you probably see why I can't just call it one thing. So I don't know what I'm going to name this video. But we want to find the free player in quarters type defenses. This is what I like to do, okay? I like to, because we know what everyone is responsible for, right? 1 to 2, we call quarters. You're 2 to 1, he's quarter flat, right? Remember the bubble over these. It's just a horrible circle, right? And then we have this guy cutting over for this guy unless he poaches, etc. Horrible drawing, but you guys get the drift. I said in that video where we could actually blitz the 3 rec, and yes, we would have issues because there would be nobody for that inside quick throw, but he is eligible to blitz without breaking the back end of the coverage. And what I mean by that is, if they were to send 3 verts on this side, let's say he goes on a corner, and we blitz this guy, okay, he is I believe they call it a capped defender, all right, where there's a safety behind him who's going to take the vertical of number 3. He's not responsible for the vertical of number 3. So in other words, he would match that, the safety would match this guy, and this guy would poach over to take the vertical of this guy. So yes, the inside window is open for a moment because we are blitzing this guy, but it doesn't break the back end of the coverage, right? So we could actually blitz this guy and include him in a blitz coverage, a blitz path, and still have matching principles on the back end. And that's the world I love to be in, to where we can kind of get creative, make exotic like type pressures, okay, and still match on the back end, right? All right, so, but that's just the beginning of the iceberg. Again, I like to layer my stuff, right? Because we're going to have an issue here. If they're blocking 5 and we're bringing 5, then obviously they can block everyone, right? And we'll see the problem here. So I'll go ahead and play it. All right, so looking at this, what should happen? He should match that. He should match that. He should reroute him and then play into the curl. All right, he's cut 1 or poach over to 3. Well, 1's running a vertical route, so then I'm going to poach over for the 3. He should man that. He's mag on that guy, right? You want to get to where you just know it off of the back. I play so much quarters type defenses, guys. It's just like it comes like automatic. So don't try to learn cover 4, cover 6, cover 9, and I'm missing one, and palms in one day, right? It's not going to happen, okay? But maybe you can pick one and learn it to where you know it inside out, and then you go from there, okay? So I know, you know, I can actually play with this guy on bringing pressures, but we're gonna layer this, okay? So we're gonna blitz him, and we see we don't get success. Now, don't be results oriented, right? You may say, well, you did get pressure. No, well, no, we didn't, right? You're gonna see this is where we get into where we're trying to attack offensive line protection schemes, okay? So we're bringing this guy here, all right? And what they really do is, it's really, I believe it's called jet protection in the West Coast language. I may be wrong, right? But the whole idea is where we get, it's half line protection, where half of the line is sliding and the other half is playing man-to-man, big on big, right? So we're in an even front, so the center's involved into the slide, right? There's our slide. I'm doing a bad job here with this. Different color. I have this gap, I have this gap, and I have this gap. So we are accounted for here, right? And then we're big on big. So that's just an easy pickup, right? And it doesn't matter what we do on this side. We can run all types of crap, right? You're always stronger on the sliding side of your offensive line as opposed to your man-to-man side, always, right? So even if they were to run something like this, we should still be theoretically good, right? Because we're sliding to our gap. And of course, we're big on big here. Now, if they were to do something here where we get stunts, this is where we can get into issues, because if we don't pass off correctly, someone could come scot-free. If you're going to run stunts on a defensive line, from what I've read in the past, you always want to try to get that on the man-to-man side, okay? I mean, football, man, it's just like a whole nother world in a lot of different, whether it's offensive line protection, defensive line attack, blitzing, you know, it's just so much information. But again, that's why it's better to learn by layers and not trying to learn everything in one go, okay? So let's see what happens. Well, again, I mean, they're just clean over here, and you're almost in a worse position in blitzing that guy because we don't get any pressure. And the only reason why we got pressure is because we have this mammoth here, Mr. Garrett, okay? And this is, again, a benefit of bringing 5 is we guarantee he gets one-on-one. So that's one thing you can think of. If you have a monster up front like this and they just double team the guy, you can kind of create ways to where he gets one-on-ones. And one way is to, okay, we're going to bring a guy on a pressure. So now you're forced to block, and now we get a one-on-one here, right? So we get to show this here. But when I saw this, I'm like, hey, this is going to mess with my video because everyone doesn't have a Myles Garrett on their team, right? So I'm like, look, get off the field because I want to get more into theory type stuff. So obviously it takes one extra play before he gets off the field. But I'm like, hey, let me go ahead and show how just because you have a monster up front, you know, if you don't get a free rusher at the quarterback and he doesn't win, you know, you're pretty much compromised on the back end. As you see here, he didn't win this time, right? We want to get in the world to where we get someone coming scot-free at the quarterback. But how can we do that if we're bringing 5 and they're blocking 5, right? So I believe, is this the video point where I show it? Not yet. And here I showed where, look, we can, if they catch you doing that, they can rip a quick throw because of the 3-rack, right? Coming on a blitz. How about this? We can do a number of different things. Now, again, they don't know what you're doing, right? But this is just all theory. We have him going in, we have him going to the flat. So thinking about the concept, the responsibilities. He's a match 2 out player, but if 2 goes in, then he's looking for 3 coming out because it's just so much stuff, right? He's the 1, he's the 2, he's the 3. But at this point when they cross, this guy is the new number 2 and this guy is the new number 3. So even though he switches off onto this guy, he's still match 2 out when you think about it. It's just that this guy becomes the new 2 going out, right? So he's going to match that route. And who's responsible for the 2 coming in? The 3 rec, right? But we bring him under pressure, right? We just guarantee that if we get 4 verts, we're still good, right? But now we're going to run into an issue to where, hey, he's not going to be there because we're bringing him on a pressure, right? So what if they have something like this drawn up and look at the window, right? Because the 3 rec is not there. Okay. So what can we do? And I think this is where I show it right here, okay? What do you want to do in this situation? If we know that they're just going to slide, half slide this way and we're big on big, okay? Well, what if we can get the center to slide this way, right? Thinking about it, if the center slides this way and maybe they made a call where, hey, we got a half slide where our zone side is to the right and our big on big is here. Well, what would happen? Well, now this guy's free, right? But how can we do that? Well, theoretically, they don't know that he's coming in real life. In Madden, they do because it's coded that way. And that's the problem with Madden, okay? These players know that this guy is coming because it's all inputs and outputs and all that stuff, all the nerd stuff, right? Okay, but in real life, they wouldn't know where this guy is coming from. They wouldn't know where the blitz is coming from, okay? So what we could do is, well, what if we simulate or make it seem like we're bringing pressure from this side to where we would get a call where, hey, we have to slide this way to pick up the blitz, right? So one way we can do that is to take a player and mug this gap, right? This is what we do, and that's what we want. We want the center to turn this way for the slide, hoping that we would get big on big, and then we can get a free player coming while we are still matching on the back end, quarter flat, right? Okay, I think I showed a clip. Here it is right here. So, but here's the thing too, right? None of this stuff changes. So this is where, when you get into creating pressures, you do it in a way to where it makes sense on the back end, right? So who did we take to put down here? We took this player here. Well, his responsibilities is still the same. He's going to cut the 1 if he comes underneath, or he's got to poach for number 3, right? So I believe I have a screenshot here of the front. There it is right there. So we brought him down, but he still has the same responsibilities. Okay, so now looking at this, and then we're going to blitz this guy. What's the problem with this? Well, if 2 and 1 go vertical, and 3 goes vertical, right? What's the problem? Well, he's going to match that. Corner out here is going to match this. And now your safety, if this guy runs out, it's got to turn and run with this guy without this guy stopping the inside throw or rerouting this player, right? So here we see a major problem if they call 3 verts, right? Now, if there's a low likelihood of them doing that when they see this pressure, right? What if they run something where this guy stays under, he goes inside, right? Then you can have better potential with this play, right? But I'm going to show you something in a minute. First, let's take a look at the pressure. Okay, also what I did was I slanted the D-line this way, and I pressed contain, okay? The contain bit, and we'll see what happens. Okay, you see that? You see how the center is stepped that way? That's what we wanted. Now, it's kind of unrealistic in Madden. The second he turned that way, then he turned back, because, again, the game is trying to hold your hand here, okay? But we get the pressure in. Okay, so we'll watch it again. Okay, that's all we wanted. Step this way, big on big, free player, right? Now, what they're going to try to do is, okay, get back, switch, or make a call, or slide out, because offensive linemen are communicating during a play as well. I should have saved a video that I saw. It was just so interesting. You guys, I mean, once you get into the stuff, you'll get interested in offensive line protection schemes. I'm telling you, man. Like, I was watching a seminar on just offensive line protection and stuff that they deal with at the front, right? They're yelling all types of stuff, switch and you know, slide over and all types of stuff, right? So, you know, it is realistic that, all right, he didn't come, let me jump back, and then maybe they make a call to where you can slide out and pick up this guy. But, you know, that's a very hard task when you originally started pushing this way, right? And we get our guy coming scot-free while still matching on the back end, which is a beautiful thing, right? So here I run it again. And it happened again, right? So here's an example of another example, right? Where we run into an issue, a certain route combination. What's going to happen here? Match that. He's got to match that, right? Who has this guy going vertical? Well, we don't now because, again, we cut the one. Since one is coming across, well, we got to cut it. So who takes the 3? Well, the corner's got to reroute all the way over here and take the vertical of number 3. And I don't know if you guys remember, I said in that video, this is one part of quarters defense that I don't like and how it plays against trace sets. But again, you're not going to get a lot of players running 3 straight goes like this, right? So that's something that's just like a low probability, okay? But let's take a look and see what happens here. And the pressure, you see how he kind of gets, he was free, but then he ran into somebody. So theoretically, it would have been good. But look, I mean, he could have made this throw a little bit earlier. And obviously, I had the other controller. But you saw how he's open in the corners way late getting over there, right? And there's no one to reroute this guy. So what's the point of me showing you this? All right, so here I show it in replay. And again, we're not coming. We're just showing so we can get the lineman to step this way. Okay, attacking offensive line protection. Our 3 rec gets in, but he kind of runs into the muck there, and we see how that guy is wide open. And this is, again, where we don't like, this is all about marrying the blitz with the back end of the coverage, right? Well, how about instead of us running quarters, because it's a problem with this guy, right? If we're going to run a blitz package, we run palms, right? And again, this is how you see how knowing the responsibilities of everyone in the coverage, you can create a blitz that makes sense and it doesn't compromise the back end of your coverage, right? So you remember in palms, the circle is here. And we X out this player here, right? Because he's Meg. And what we've done with this coverage is, well, now he's not responsible for the vertical of number 3. Okay? And also, this guy isn't responsible of the vertical of number 3, right? Because now we have a bubble on the 2 and the 3 here. The safety and the apex guy is responsible for the verts of 2 and 3. And what this does, what palms does, is it frees up this back end over here to where we can do a lot of different things. We're playing stubby on this side of the field, which allows us to play a lot of different things on the back end. And this is where you can get into playing the cop check and different things on the back end, okay? So we can run that same blitz, but just call palms, right? Get that pressure coming in, okay? And if this guy goes vertical, I could draw it right now. What would happen here? Man to man, he would man this man to man, he would man this man to man, right? And if he goes inside, if we're usering this player and we're here, again, we're just going to show, snap the ball, run inside, and take that route, right? He matches one except under inside. Since he goes inside, I think he just zones out to his quarter, and then he makes the 2, right? And you can get into a lot of different things with this because when you show a pressure like that, a lot of times they're going to block the back. And what does that do for this player? Well, now because I'm Meg on the 2 and he's blocking, he can play zone, right? So now they're playing 6-man pass protection, and we're bringing 5, but we have a lot more on the back end to help out in defense, okay? So let's see what I got here. So, I mean, this was not a good one, but when you tie it with palms, it's good. So this is what I got here. This is pressures for 3x0 sets where we call palms. Okay, we slant strong, blitz the 3 rec. I should have put QB contain. And then you take the backside safety and mug weak side A gap, right? Now, obviously in real life, they probably have a way better, more technical term for this. They're not going to have all this stuff. This is just the stuff you have to do to create the pressure, right? Okay. But I mean, this is so another thing about this video. When you play a formation, when you play against bunch, when you play against stack sets, when you play against 3x0 sets, if I were to ask you, well, what do you do? How do you defend it, right? People will say, well, I play quarters, or I play cover 6 invert. Okay. How do you play bunch? Well, I box it, or I play that traffic check that you talk about, or I play what Deuce Close talked about, right? With the I forgot what it is, bingo, right? A number of different things. Okay. One thing you have to have when you play against a formation, you got to have some pressure packages, man. You got to have them. Okay. You don't want to live in the world to where, hey, whenever we play bunch, they will never blitz us, right? Okay. You want it to where your opponent knows that it doesn't matter what formation they play. You can be in empty, you can be in bunch, you can be in tray sets, 3x0, trio, whatever. I have a blitz package to attack you with it. You don't have to have 10 or 12. Having 2 is good, or 3, right? To where from the same look, we have a pressure that we can bring to where we get someone coming scot-free and we don't have to play cover 0 to do it, right? So, I mean, I'm just giving you an example of, hey, this would be 1, right? And maybe it's only good against 5-man pass protection. If they block 6, then maybe they're good, right? But then you build off of that, okay? But let's get into some more interesting stuff here, okay? What if I were to tell you, okay, what if we could do something like this? This defensive end, what if we turn him to where he's meg on the number 2, right? What would that allow us to do? Well, now we can do whatever we want with this player, right? Because he doesn't have to meg the number 2. This guy has him, right? So how about pressure, 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 and now we can bring him on the blitz path. And now he's man-to-man on the 2, right? This is where we get into the creeper blitz world, where we are still bringing 4, but it's not the traditional 4. A creeper blitz, I made a video on it. Definitely go check it out. It's a blitz where it's not even a blitz. It's where you're still rushing 4 players, but you're taking a defender from the first line of defense, okay? And you're rotating him into the back end of the coverage and bringing that 4th rusher from the 2nd or 3rd level, right? So you kind of present a simulation as if someone's coming, right? But we're still playing 7 on the back end and 4 rushing the quarterback, okay? So this is where I change it to we can bring him on a blitz path. But I know you're thinking, well, okay, so what do? You man up him on the 2. No. In the game, I hope you know this, if you bluff blitz the defensive end on the running back side, he doesn't play what they have titled in the game. He doesn't play like the zone 3 rec, okay? He actually mans the back if he goes out into a route. And that gives us a lot of versatility in being creative and creating exotic pressures from a match back end, right? So here I'll show it to you to where I bluff blitz this guy, right? You see how it bluff and play art shows 3 rec? That's not what's going to happen. Obviously, you have to have match on. He's keying the 2, and if 2 goes out, he takes him, right? And you can get very deceptive with this. I've done this to where I take this player and I move him like way over here, and I blitz him from over here, right? And when your opponent sees that, the presentation, they're thinking, where's the player who's supposed to man up on this guy? And a lot of times they'll just send this guy on the flat, snap the ball, and throw it to him, and this guy's running out with them matching it, right? So why don't you go ahead and take a look here. Okay, and again, this is layers, right? So we just do a generic blitz, bluff blitz that guy, and watch how the defensive end will clear out and take the back, right? And now we're bringing that quarter flat player there. Okay. Now, yes, we didn't get pressure, but again, it's all about layers, right? So how can we make this better? Okay, so this is where I get into the world where, I forgot what I did here. I think we're still playing palms on the back end. Okay, look at all the stuff we got going on here. Now, bluff blitz, so now you're mag on the 2. Okay, mag, and this is palms. Let's just say this is palms. 3-2 read, 3-2 read, mag, okay? This guy, I believe he cuts one. If not, he zones to corner. To quarter. This guy takes the tight end on up and out, right? Man, up, out, tight end. So we are still sound. But what I did is I blitzed the 3-rec, right? And now me, as the original quarter flat, now I take his job, right? Now I'm the 3-rec. So we still have all of the same responsibilities in the palms coverage. We just kind of rotated it to where we are in a creeper blitz, right? We still have the mag on the back. We still have these guys doing the same exact things that they have done, but I'm the original mag the back, but I don't have to do that anymore. So I blitz this guy and I take his responsibility, right? You can just mix and match it, but we still have everything going on. This would be a creeper, but with match on the back end, right? And then we do the same presentation. We are still trying to get the center to turn this way to get our guy coming scot-free. So my idea with this pressure is, okay, first of all, I mean, looking at it, opponents will see this and want to throw this, right? Well, he's here, so he's out leveraged. Let me throw that. He snapped the ball, and this guy's rolling out with him. And that's another thing with the bluff blitz. He should step in to hold this guy and then get out of there, right? Okay, so again, we're just layering this all the way across the board. Okay, why don't I just go ahead and play it? And as we see here, oh, and then I man him with the play art on the circle, not because I'm actually going to man him, but at the snap of the ball, you know, the game will automatically turn me this way. So I can get a head start running this way, and then obviously I'll use this guy and play into the middle as the original 3-rec. And as we see, look at the path we have here. It's wide open, but obviously they're going to pan back, right? But it's too late, right? So look at the kind of like exotic creeper man pressure. We are only bringing 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3-rec, man to man, cut 1, zone out to quarter. He's pretty much man on him on out and up, right? And then 3-2 read, 3-2 read, and obviously this guy over here is Meg, right? Look at what we created. Because again, we know what everyone's responsible for on the back end, and then we also know what we're trying to do in regards to attacking offensive line protection. We are marrying concepts together to create different blitzes and different coverages on the back end and confusing our opponent. We're going to take it further, okay? You never be satisfied, at least I'm not, right? I like to be deceptive as hell on defense. I like to confuse people. I like to, I like to do a lot of different things, okay? So here's another thing you can do, okay? I've known this for a while, but I've never really implemented it into my game because it takes a lot of time on the practice field to make sure everything's sound and good in structure and everything, okay? But I hope you know you could call something like weak side blitz 3 to where you get a lot of pre-snap movement, right? And then audible to a match quarters defense, right? And watch what happens. So we call weak side blitz 3. I know a lot of you guys have done that where you call like the blitz where you have both safeties coming down and then you audible to quarters, right? It's a way to be very deceptive, right? So watch how we get this rotation here. And then I audible. So look, this is the original call. And then we audible in the quarters, right? And also we are in the underfront. So this is where you can play around with different coverages, like cover 4, cover 9, and all that type of stuff. And find the one that makes sense with the alignment to where you're not really compromising their ability to play their responsibility post-snap due to where they are aligned, and then create a lot of different pressure packages from it as well, right? So this looks like single high, but we're actually playing a quarters defense, okay? And it's just so many different things you can do with this because with a single high type coverage, you really don't want to run like RPOs and stuff because if we're in true cover 1 man, you can't really run RPO with this guy going outside, okay? So we're gonna run it. Oh, okay, I should have showed the responsibilities there. Maybe I'll go back. Okay, here it is. So if we call palms, if we went to this rotation and then we audible to palms, you are Meg, right? He's still a 3-2 read, and he's a 3-2 read. Nothing changes, right? You're the 3 rec, okay? He's the Meg on number 2. This guy is cut 1 or zone 2 quarter, and then this guy is going to take the tight end out and up. Okay, and then we can do a number of things with this. We could, again, bluff blitz this guy to where he's man on him, and then we can do whatever we want with this player. We can then blitz this guy, and now you're the 3 rec, right? Or we can just blitz him and have him meg on that player, right? I'm just throwing the ideas at you guys. You can do so many different things with this stuff, right? Just, I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can sit there on the practice field for hours designing your own stuff, right? So I started tinkering around with different things. So obviously I turned him into a bluff blitz, so now he's meg on that guy. So that frees up this player. I can do whatever I want with this player. And if I were to take something like blitz him, well, then I still want my 3 rec, so now I'm the 3 rec, right? And look at the many different things we can do, right? Oh, also, you can get like TE stunts in the game, okay? It's not a true TE stunt. I made a video last year in the member section to where you can kind of get a funky in and roll over TE stunt, and it's pretty cool, right? And you do that by slanting in the same direction and then doing quarterback contain. Okay, so I forgot what happened here. This is where I was kind of designing the stuff up, right? And then I just man him on this guy, not because I'm going to play man with him, but at the snap of the ball, I want the game to kind of turn me that way so I can actually get in the window of playing the true 3 rec, right? All right, and this is where I just took it even a step further, knowing the rules. What's his rules? Well, he cuts 1 if 1 goes inside, but if 1 goes up and out, then he just zones to his quarter, right? So then how about I move inside and I further encourage the offensive line to slide this way to get a free player. So I actually did want him to man on the 3, right? Because I'm just going to use that safety there. So what does this look like? Your opponent sees something like this. This looks like true single high, right? Some type of 3-3 blitz, cover 1 man, cover 3 zone. And little does he know, we're actually playing quarters, right? We're playing stubby with the check we have on the backside here. And look how I got this A-gap pressure. I should have wrote down the adjustments I did there. I believe all I did was I called this pre-snap alignment. Let me go back. And it worked like 3 times in a row or 2 times in a row. Called this pre-snap alignment. They're in the underfront. I slant it this way. And I have to do it twice in the game so we can show that. Then I QB contain and I blitz the 3 rec. Right? Then I take the safety down and hug this. Now, you want to get, this video is almost over. You want to get into the world where you find blitzes that are simple to set up and quick to set up, right? Because if you play against a guy live, they're not going to sit there and wait 6 seconds for you to set up, right? But if you play against a guy who's constantly making adjustments and stuff like that and you have the time, then this would be good. Or this could be something that you run on 3rd and long, right? You think about it, when teams are running like exotic pressures and stuff like that, I think you really get a lot of that on like 3rd and long situations. You don't get that on 1st down, 2nd down, and stuff like that. You get it more in like 3rd and long to where it's less of a probability of them running the ball. So you can kind of get away with not being sound with your run fits with the blitzes. I assume that they don't do that, right? But if you wanted to run a blitz to where you're kind of opening yourself up for attack with a A-gap strong side run, you would want to do that on like 3rd and 17 to where they're not going to run it anyways, right? And that's where you can kind of get more creative in bringing pressures, right? So, I mean, this is something that you don't have to find 4, you don't have to find 5. Find 2, right? Exotic pressure looks with match principles on the back end, and then marry it with the other coverages that you like to run against formations, and then you can be a problem to play against, because now they have to worry about your match coverages. They got to worry about the coverages that you create from those coverages, and then they got to worry about the pressure packages that you present up front, okay? So I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you look forward to me hopefully giving you a bunch of pressure packages that I'm going to try to create over the following couple of weeks. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long, and peace.